Do you guys have any more questions for me?
Yeah, could you elaborate with the fact that you've stated many times that you're a Zionist who puts Jewish values over American ones? As it seems that you have a lot of hypocrisy when it comes to, the two different set of values you believe in between Israel and America. What's your take on the question of ethnic homogeneity for both Israel and
Ben Shapiro is anti-American. Now, before you dislike the video, actually fuck it. If you're closed-minded, then just dislike the video and never come back. So, before we start, let's talk about common sense. First, we both know that being nationalistic of two different countries is ridiculous. Why? Well, because at some point there'll be friction between the two countries and you'll have to decide who you're more attached to. And when that does happen, the nation you're less patriotic of will deem you rightfully as a traitor, correct? Obviously, you already knew that. Now, going back to Ben Shapiro, he doesn't hate America, he's just not pro-America. You see, Ben is a Zionist, thus making him pro-Israel. Here's clips where he literally says it if you don't believe me.
Yes, I consider myself a Zionist. Yes, I consider myself a Zionist.
I'm loyal to the Zionist vision of Israel, the religious Zionist vision of Israel in particular.
Also, he even says himself that he's first and foremost a Jew, and only then, secondly, as an American.
What is your identity?
Well, I mean, I'm a Jew who is an American, but obviously, my Judaism is key to my value set and key to my identity. So that's. In terms of my personal values and in terms of what I value most, when it comes to the values that I hold dearest, those are obviously Jewish values.
This means when you go to his hashtag-based events, you're not listening to an American. No, you're listening to a Jew that puts Jewish values first and only then American values. You cannot be devoted to multiple countries at once. That's like having multiple marriages at once. It's just absurd. So, number one, here's a tweet. And by the way, I don't give a good damn about the so-called browning of America. Color doesn't matter. Ideology does. Alright, if you say so. Tweet. Not all illegal immigrants should stay. Not all illegal immigrants should leave. Why can't we decide on a person-by-person basis? Yes, very good remark, Ben. Very progressive of you. Tweet. There are crappy countries. Judging immigrants by their countries of origin is wrong. Change your headline. Interesting. I very well see your point of view, Ben. Now, tell me this, Ben. Would you support a non-Jewish state of Israel, so long as everyone has the same ideology? Would you support open borders for Israel? Of course not. But he doesn't criticize Israel when Knesset opposed plan to deport 40,000 illegal immigrants. African migrants given 3 months to leave Israel or face jail. Netanyahu said looking for ways to forcibly deport illegal immigrants. Israel gives African asylum seekers a choice: deportation or jail. Israel government to tell 30,000 Africans to leave or face arrest. I understand his position. He is against the mixture of populations for Israel. But what about, I don't care about the browning of America. Color doesn't matter. Ideology does. In summary, Shapiro views Israel as a nation with legitimate people with the right to defend themselves as a group. You actually want to kick out all Palestinians and Israeli Arabs from Israel. Let's start with an article he wrote himself. Transfer is not a dirty word. In this article, Ben describes how Palestinians and Israelis can't live together, so it's time to literally deport every single Palestinian and even the Israeli Arabs out of the country so the Jews can live peacefully. The problem with Ben isn't that he's biased. I mean, we're all a little bit biased. The problem is that he manipulates the public to believe causes that benefit Israel, even if they're bad for the US. A notable example is this one.
The dictator of Syria used chemical weapons against his own citizens once again, and the footage broke on TV. Now, as you recall, the last time there was a public use of chemical weapons and the news broke on TV, President Trump lobbed a couple of missiles into Syria. Something like 50 missiles were lobbed into Syria, and a particular airbase was hit. Well, it's unclear what exactly the United States is going to do as of yet, but already action has been taken. It's been taken by Israel. So Israel went in and knocked out a Syrian airbase and took down some of their Syrian air defenses. If we have the capacity, we should knock out as much of the Syrian Air Force as we possibly can. We should knock down as many of their anti-aircraft missiles as we possibly can. We should it's probably impossible to decapitate the regime with significant amounts of boots on the ground. Whatever we can do from the air, we should do from the air. And that means providing actual armed support to whatever Syrian rebels are left who have not been murdered already by ISIS and the Assad regime, and arming those people who are left in order to resist the Assad regime.
Ben wants war in the Middle East that will serve America no purpose or benefit. It will cost a lot of young American lives and the hard-working middle-class money for nothing than benefiting Israeli Zionistic agendas. He uses the beloved phrase used by neocons and warmongers, the herder, Assad is a dictator that kills children and stuff. Look at this real video that totally wasn't exposed as a fake.
So you can see these children are, being treated, they're being washed off with water because they've all been doused with chemical weapons. A lot of these folks have died of suffocation. Something like 100 people died of suffocation. These are children. These are small children. So obviously when you see images like this, it's absolutely horrific. Israel lashed out yesterday. Since 2012, Israel has struck inside Syria more than 100 times, mostly targeting suspected weapons convoys destined for the Lebanese militant group Hezbollah, which has been fighting along Syrian governmental forces.
He uses the infamous gassing video where children were allegedly gassed. With no evidence whatsoever, he brags about how Israel lashed out on a sovereign nation just because of some random video. But whatever, they can do whatever they want to Syria. What I dislike about Ben is how hard he's trying to spread propaganda about Assad's regime and how important it is for the US to send Americans to die for Israel. Listen, Ben, it is okay that you're a Zionist and want to take advantage of a country and manipulate them into a war for your own cause. After all, that's what Zionists have been doing. What I don't like is your lies, double standards, and propaganda. The world is already filled with enough bullshit. We don't need any of your herder democracy, we're your greatest ally bullshit. Everybody knows that ISIS is mostly defeated in Syria, so why the hell would the leader of the country want to gas his own people? That makes no sense. It is an insult to your intellect. Plenty of sources from Syria prove that the chemical weapons actually come from ISIS and the rebels themselves. They use it on their hostages.
It's obvious the people, the children that were killed in the gas attack were the hostages that the rebels had kidnapped. Footage of 4 children suffocated in an underground bunker emerged.
The hypocrisy is uncanny. Israel bombs the shit out of a country because, oh no, the innocent are dying. They need our help. But they won't even take in the Syrian refugees fleeing from war.
Not all illegal immigrants should stay. Not all legal immigrants should leave. Why can't we decide on a person-by-person basis? There are crappy countries. Judging immigrants by their country of origin is wrong. Change your headline.
But wait, there's more. Essentially, Ben supports identity politics if they work in favor of the Jews or Jewish values. But if they're about white or European ethnicity, then you're a supremacist or a Nazi.
Okay, what is the alt-right? So the alt-right are a group of people who believe that ideology and ethnicity are inextricably intertwined, just like the identity politics left, right? And that means that people who don't have white skin cannot properly assimilate into Western civilization. This has no grounding in reality. Then there has to be a white group that fights back on behalf of the white race. As you may have noticed, I think all of this is disgusting. Okay, Western civilization is not built on race. Okay, well, if you're going to do identity politics, you will see some white identity politics from the right, which I think is really negative.
Well, that's interesting. Let's look at one of your many tweets where you openly support the ethnic nationalism for Jews. Very smart move by BB. He just forced Obama to answer whether or not he thinks Israel is a Jewish state. Ben wants to force Obama to admit that Israel is a Jewish state. Ben, listen, if you support the idea that some territory belongs to an ethnic group, this makes you an ethnic nationalist. And that sounds like identity politics, doesn't it? You say that white identity politics is bad, but you are an openly ethnic Jewish nationalist. In the next clip, you can see Ariel Gold, who's also Jewish, knock off Ben's hypocrisy, leaving him rattled and disoriented.
I am thankful that we live in a country that still values dissent and protest. That's much more than we can say right now for the apartheid state of Israel.
Whoa, not sure where that came from, and that's a lie. But I think we'll save that lie for another time, since we actually have other topics to get to. Suffice to say that Muslims in Israel have more rights than Muslims any place in the Middle East by a long shot.
Come on, man. So you're telling me that Muslims in Israel are treated better than in Saudi Arabia, for example? Muslims aren't treated better in Israel, and they don't have more rights than in other Muslim countries. That's just absurd. Israel controls the West Bank and Gaza Strip. There's a damn militarized border wall separating the Jews from Palestinians. They even built a big-ass underwater wall to keep out the Palestinians. Due to the situation, there's an apartheid. Many Palestinians are killed daily by Israelis during protests. And protests against what? Against the fact that the Israelis are cutting water and fuel supplies to their homes. Israelis are confiscating Palestinian villages that have been there for generations, and they don't give any compensation back. If Muslims live so much better in Israel than in other Muslim countries by a long shot, then why is there always war, friction, and conflicts between the two? Just quit your bullshit. If you want to have double standards, then at least be honest about them. And let me show you one more thing. No comments are needed. Look, guys, I'm not anti-Semitic or alt-right. I just don't like Ben's hypocrisy and bias. I believe that he's a good guy, but he's getting way too much credit than he should be. Either way, I'm out here. I've given my take on this, and what you do with this information given in this video is all up to you. I'm not forcing you to believe what I say. I just say and you interpret. Truly yours, Alex.
Yo, your baby needs